What up, y'all? It's Dominic 369 back at y'all for Occultism Unleashed. Happy to say I'm enjoying and getting used to the schedule of fatherhood. Now, I want to get into this Jupiter retrograde. You know, Jupiter is retrograde right now in Pisces. It's going to go back into the sign of Aquarius. So wherever you have 1 degree Pisces in your chart, you know, if you got Jupiter retrograde in your first house, you know, Jupiter is the great expander. It expands. And that's for better or worse. Even though Jupiter is the greater beneficent, when the energy of Jupiter expands things in your chart, it can expand negative shit just like it expands positive shit. Believe that. So as Jupiter retrogrades through your chart in Pisces and back into Aquarius, you need to definitely be aware. You need to definitely be aware of the excessiveness that you allow in your house, into your life. You know, if it's in your first house, you know, and you've been having problems overeating and gaining weight, or excessively losing weight, or excessively altering your physical features, because Uranus rules plastic surgery. So if you got, you know, Jupiter in your first house retrograde and Pisces in Aquarius, you know, you're going through a lot of physical changes and personality changes, the way the world views you. And the way you allow yourself to be viewed by the world by expanding how you express yourself to the world. Because that's what Jupiter's energy does in the first house. It expands how you present yourself to the world. And it expands how the world interprets your expression of your soul's energy. Your sun sign represents your conscious expression of your soul's energy. The moon sign represents the core value, the core programming of the soul. The sun is how our sun sign is how we consciously project that energy, and the rising sign is how the world interprets that energy. So as Jupiter in your first house is expanding your personality, your body, the changes in your body as Jupiter goes retrograde, because it's going to go back into Aquarius. It gives you the opportunity to reevaluate your uniqueness as it goes back into Aquarius, you know, your humanitarian nature or your selfishness, you know, because Aquarius is a very individual sign and represents uniqueness. But does your desire for uniqueness rather inhibit your ability to be altruistic and value others? So as Jupiter goes into your second house, you begin to address your value system, because the second house rules your values, not just your money, but your values and your self-worth. Have you been overspending since Jupiter went in Pisces, you know, in your second house, as it was direct in Pisces in your second house? Were you overspending? Have you made good business choices with the monies that you made? Have you allowed Jupiter to take that prosperity and turn it into abundance? Because Jupiter turns that prosperity into abundance. It allows you to expand the money and possessions that you gain from your second house, because the second house, it rules your money and your possessions and your self-worth, you know. It rules your values. So as Jupiter goes through this second house retrograde, reevaluate the values that you've you know, adapted. Reevaluate, you know, how you use technology in regards to your values and spreading your values as it goes as it retrogrades back into Aquarius from Pisces. You know, in the third house, you want to look at your communication, your mindset. You know, how are you bringing abundance to your neighborhood and community? Because the third house rules your community, your neighborhood. You know, how are you growing in your relationship with your siblings, because the third house rules your siblings. And again, I tell you guys all the time, the retrograde is the best time, because a retrograde creates the opportunity for us to evaluate how we are assimilating the new planetary energy download. As the planets transit through your chart, it's like getting a software update. So when it goes retrograde, it gives you the opportunity to see how you've been assimilating that energy in that software update. So Jupiter in your third house, you know, are you sharing with your community? Are you expanding that abundance? Are you expanding your knowledge? Because the third house rules information. Or are you allowing yourself to get caught up and smothered and suffocated by too much information? That you're not getting nothing done because you've allowed Jupiter to bring you so much information or give so much of yourself to your siblings or your community that you have not been able to expand within or to grow and develop your own mind, because you've allowed so much from others to come in. The third house is the house of information. You know, when Jupiter in your third house, your phone turn up, your communication turn up, socialization turn up, old people from the past come up, you know. But Jupiter going retrograde is telling you, you know, are these people giving you what you need as you're steady, you know, expanding and growing out? Are you gaining anything that helps you grow as an individual? You got to make sure, you know, it's a two-way street. You got people making withdrawals and ain't making deposits. That ain't helping you grow. So Jupiter gonna kick your butt. Jupiter gonna kick your butt. Now, if you go in the fourth house, it rules our father. It rules, you know, our family karma. It rules our individual home. You know, if you look at the sign on your fourth house, it'll give you a pretty good description of the type of home that you wish you had or that you have. You know, it tells about your father and your father's nature. So as you know, check on Jupiter in the fourth house, it's a good opportunity to try to, you know, expand your relationship with your father, your understanding of your relationship with your father, and grow. It's definitely a time to expand any real estate holdings that you have. Do repairs on your home to increase the value of your home. You know, maybe remodel the bathroom or the kitchen. The kitchen is the best. If you got Jupiter in the fourth house and you can remodel your kitchen because the fourth house rules the kitchen in the home. You know, astrology is very deep. Every house rules something. You know, everything that exists in the catalog of the human mind can be aligned with a corresponding planet. You know, that's why I tell you guys to get the rulership book. But, you know, if you have it in your fifth house, you're looking at your creativity. People think, oh, fifth house is the house of romance, children, booty call, sex. Fifth house rules your creativity also. It rules how you market yourself. You know, how you market and you promote yourself, what you like to do for a hobby. So if your Jupiter is, you know, not functioning properly when it goes retrograde in the fifth house, you know, you might want to check out if you overdoing the partying and having fun. You know, are the things that you do for fun and recreation, are the you know, romantic, you know, involvements that you have, are they helping you grow? Are they helping you innovate? Are they cultivating you spiritually? You know, innovation is when it goes back into Aquarius. Right now it's Pisces, spirituality. You know, the sixth house, you're looking at your health issues, your work. You know, some people are going to have issues with their pets or get more pets as Jupiter goes into their sixth house. You know, as Jupiter's in their sixth house retrograde. You know, The 7th house, you're looking at your relationship issues, you know, and partnerships with your significant others, long-term relationships, people that you go to advice to, and advisors, whether it's a doctor, a lawyer, or a trusted friend, you know. The 8th house, Jupiter in your 8th house, is the best time to get your business clear. You know, you can either go into a lot of debt or get a lot of debt paid off. You know, Jupiter in your 8th house makes it favorable for you to get loans if you have aspects to other planets in your chart. You know, Jupiter makes it better opportunity for you to get loans. It also increases the power of spirit mediumship and communication with the dead, because the 8th house is the house of mediumship and death. Absolutely. So if you got Jupiter going through your 8th house and you're dreaming about, you know, dead relatives and things like that, or getting more interested in, you know, studying, learning about magic and stuff like that, because the 8th house rule magic too, you know, take a dive, but don't get caught up in a bunch of different authors' opinions, because a lot of these motherfuckers don't know shit. Meditate, get to know yourself. You know, you want to, you know, communicate with your guides. You want to focus on the energy behind yourself, behind you, because all your spirit guides, they plug into the back of your head, like in the Matrix movie and shit, you know. But we're going to jump to the 9th house. Jupiter is the natural ruler of the 9th house. The 9th house is about legal issues, higher learning, college, faith, your belief system. That's your house of magic, hopes and wishes, real wishes, because it's your faith, through faith, that you accomplish your manifestations. You know? But if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have knowledge of self, the 9th house rules higher knowledge, then you can't manifest anything. You're just going to get more knowledge without understanding. And that is the formula for chaos, Jack. You know, when it goes into your 10th house, you're looking at your career, your place in the world. You know, the 10th house is the highest point in your chart. So when Jupiter is in that house, it tends to bring some type of fame or infamy, depending on what other planets is contacting in your chart. You know, Jupiter in the 10th is definitely a time to shoot for a better job, a better raise, a better position in your community or your social sphere. You know, the 10th house is the second house of the 9th house. It's the benefits that we get from our faith, from our belief, from our knowledge and our understanding. That's what takes us to the highest place in the world. How we use our knowledge and understanding, our 9th house power, is what bring us up to the tippy top in the world. You know, when you jump into the 11th house, everybody say the 11th house is friends, hopes, and wishes. You know, the 11th house is the house of socialization. And everybody you socialize with, and that's something y'all need to really understand, everybody you socialize with ain't your friend. Because you won't take advice from everybody you socialize with. That's the difference in an 11th house friend, which is really an associate. 11th house is the house of associates, not friends. You know, and a lot of people don't know how to discern between friends and associates. You know, I'm trying to stay on track, man. There's so much I want to tell you guys, and so much they're telling me, you know. But I'm gonna make more videos. I promise y'all, I'm gonna make more videos. I'm talking to y'all and my spirit guys. It's just dumping information in my head right now. When it's in the 11th house, you know, you tend to socialize more, expand your social circle, you know, and like I say, the retrograde is asking you to evaluate who, you know, are the people that you're bringing into your social sphere expanding your abundance? Are they helping you grow within? Jupiter is the greater beneficent. So as it retrogrades through your social house, the 11th house, you know, really evaluate if you're reaping the benefits because it's the beneficiary, the greater beneficent. Are you reaping the benefits of the socialization that you do? Are you reaping the benefits of the associates that you have made from your place in the world and career? Because Jupiter came out your 10th house, so the energy as it retrogrades in the 11th house is reevaluated. As it goes into the 12th house, people say, oh, that's the house of prison and, hospitals and stuff like that. True enough, but prisons and hospitals represent places of retreat. Places where you're entrusted with the care of others. It's also the house of meditation and spirituality. Because when you go within yourself, you are entrusting your consciousness to be guided by your soul, your higher self, your ancestors, the gods, your spirit guides, your Orisha spirits. You understand? When you meditate, you retreat from the world. Prison is a forced retreat from the world. A hospital is a forced retreat from the world. A monastery is a chosen retreat. When you smoke that blunt or get high, these things are ruled by the 12th house, which is naturally ruled by Neptune. Substance abuse, getting high, it's a retreat from the physical realm to the spiritual. Not everybody take advantage of it, and I'm not advocating drugs for spirituality. I'm explaining the house rulership. So when you have Jupiter retrograde in your 12th house, and I'm telling you about, substance abuse and drugs, it's important that you evaluate, why you are choosing to escape. What are you running from? What are you finding in your escape with your substance abuse, or keep getting locked up, or keep having medical issues that you can't figure out? Jupiter retrograde in that 12th house is asking you, what are you avoiding that I have to make you sit that ass down? And Jupiter in retrograde in the 12th house is also asking, because the 12th house is the house of victim and martyrdom. Have you been allowing yourself to be taken advantage of more as Jupiter was going direct in Pisces? Have you been playing the victim role or trying to save everybody knowing that you can't save them? Jupiter retrograde is telling you need to check that bullshit. Jupiter retrograde, and also in the 12th house, is asking you to reevaluate your awareness of your psychic ability, of your spirituality. It's asking you to evaluate how much have you done for the world. And that includes your family. And if the people that you are sacrificing for, because the 12th house rules sacrifice, if the people and the things that you've been sacrificing for have been worthy of those sacrifices. Jupiter is about expansion and growth. Retrograde or direct, for better or worse, Jupiter will expand things. Whether it expands your awareness or your suffering is on you. Learn astrology. Learn astrology, man. Because the best knowledge you can have is knowledge of self. Peace.